Hey folks, it's Jim, it's Julie. We're back?
We're back!
Some cataclysmic, apocalyptic disaster happened over the last 2 weeks, so we couldn't bring you Marvelous March, so Marvelous March wasn't so marvelous.
It was half marvelous.
Half marvelous. There were at least 2 weeks of marvelous. So, welcome to the final week of Marvelous March. We've got quite a few titles that have come out the last few weeks. Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to start off this week with a title from quite a little while ago now, XMen Legacy number 300. And in this one, a young, disfigured girl gets trapped in the mansion's psychic security system and meets up with Forget-Me-Not.
She met up with flowers?
No, a man.
Oh.
A mutant man named Forget-Me-Not. A mutant who's been on the team for years, but no one can remember him. He basically tells her the tales of how he helped the X-Men, and though no one seems to recall it, helps her escape the security system, trapping himself in it.
Of course.
To be soon forgotten and die horribly.
I don't know if he'll die horribly, but forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically what this character's deal is as soon as you turn away from him, you forget you saw him or talked to him or anything. And he's been on the team for years, apparently.
He'd be a really great spy.
Yes he would. So what's this book like? It's okay. There are several different artists drawing the several different interconnecting stories. So it does get a bit muddled at points with style. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it's an okay X-Men story. And, I mean, when you get an interesting character that you'll never probably see again, it's not a bad day. So if you want to see something a little different, maybe recall a bit of X-Men stuff, but you didn't remember it the way it happened because, well, it's not the way it happened because Forget-Me-Not was there and no one seems to remember it.
That's kind of awesome.
Kinda. So, check this one out if you're an X-Men fan. It was pretty funny.
Alright, next up is All New Marvel Now Silver Surfer number 1.
Oh, a Mike Allred book.
Yes. So, in this book, we get to meet Dawn. She is a young lady from the East Coast of the United States, and she works in her family's B&B. Like it's a small town B&B kind of thing where our town is perfect, come enjoy a slice of heaven sort of thing.
We don't have murderers living in the house next door.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, a galaxy away, we have the Silver Surfer, who is enticed to become the champion of a place called the Empiricon. So they've had thousands of visitors. They've all been sworn to secrecy to hide this place from Galactus. Silver Surfer goes through this whole big thing of how he can sense all life forms and this place isn't possible. And then, lo and behold, it's possible.
It kind of looks like an Escher drawing.
Sure.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I recently saw the Lego movie, and I was reminded of the Lego area with the Unikitty. Where it's just that sort of extreme off-the-wall...
Cuckoo Clown?
Yeah.
Cloudland?
Yeah, they go skiing on giant sunflowers. The snow is the pollen, and the skis act as bees to help the flowers grow. It's just a very off-the-wall place.
Imagine if nature were like that on this planet.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would be weird. But then again...
great.
Then again, we have Australia for weird things,
So, after a few incidents, we see how Dawn and the Silver Surfer cross paths. And I was surprised because I was expecting to hate this book, and I didn't. I think Mike Allred's style works for the type of story that's being told.
Well, the main thing I think people have problem with Mike Allred is his very distinctive style.
Yes.
And for me, it would work best as a 60s style superhero book.
Personally, I find that his art style is a little childish for what I like, but the story they're telling right now, this is perfectly acceptable to give to an 8-year-old. It's a very, I don't want to call it a light and fluffy story, but it kind of really is. It is perfectly acceptable for you to give this book to a 7 or 8-year-old. The art's great for it. The story is great. It's something that they can really sink their teeth into. And I'm glad to see a book that works for adults and for kids.
Yeah.
So I think that we should give this new Silver Surfer a chance, despite an unexpected art style.
All right, next up, we have Captain Marvel #1.
Was it marvelous?
It was, actually. And in this one, as Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, comes to a crossroads in her life and finds new romance, she makes a decision that will alter the course of her life and the entire Marvel Universe.
Ooh.
She's off to outer space!
Yeah, because nobody's ever gone to space before.
Yeah, just every single superhero ever.
Yep.
Even Batman's been in space. For some weird reason. But, alright, so what's this book like? It's good!
Huzzah!
This is another fantastic Captain Marvel book, and the last series was also really good.
Did they fix the weird mullet issue?
Thank God, yes.
Party!
But I do have some questions.
Okay.
We've been gone for 2 weeks. I haven't been seeing you.
Right.
Was off to space, but she also has a cat named Chewie, and she's also blonde. I don't know about the dating situation with Rhodey. So, are you Captain Marvel?
Where do you think I've been the last 2 weeks?
Off saving the universe, of course.
I could confirm that, but then I'd have to kill you.
Oh, okay, well, if you were Captain Marvel, it would only take one shot.
Exactly.
Though we couldn't afford the visual effect. So, honestly though, if you are a Captain Marvel fan or a superhero fan in general, this is a perfect introduction to the character and a great continuation as well. Great characters in this. You got Lieutenant Trouble, the young kid. Mm-hmm. You got her cat named Chewie.
And who can live without a cat named Chewie?
I know.
I know I couldn't.
I mean, you have 2 cats that are movie-based names. But this was a lot of fun. And with the other Captain Marvel stuff going on, this is just a great way to get into the series. So check it out. It's a wonderful book.
All right. Next up for me is Avengers Undercover #1. And this book spins right out of Avengers Arena that ran all of 2013. So the survivors of the arena are now trying to get their lives back in order. So you've got one person who's loving the spotlight of having all of the webisodes posted on YouTube and all the fame that goes with it. Mm-hmm. You have the other 5 survivors. 5? Yes, 5.
Something like that.
Sorry, you have another 4 survivors who are just trying to survive and
forget what they saw.
Yes.
Yeah.
Move on with their lives. And then you have one who is on a huge vendetta. He has made it his mission to find and kill Arcade.
Yeah. Well, as you would probably want to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, now the team is back together, and they have to find a way to deal with all of the personality conflicts that they're experiencing.
Well, after trying to kill each other, yeah, that would do it.
Along with the unwanted fame and dealing with people who are trivializing what they've been through. So there's a lot going on in this book. I really enjoyed the art for it.
It really does work.
Yeah, it's good. It's a little dark, but it's a good tone for this book because this book is dark.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just a surprisingly good book. So if you're looking for another Avengers title to add to your list, or if you read Avengers Arena and loved it, you absolutely want to check out Avengers Undercover.
All right, next up, we have another book from a while back. It's X-Force #1. And in this one, Cable, Psylocke, Phantom X, and Marrow make up the all-new X-Force. And now they must spy, torture, and kill to ensure that mutant kind not only has a place in the world, but also a stake in it.
Now...
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, they're opposed to vegetarians?
Nah.
If everybody has to have a steak?
Yes. That's bad.
I wasn't going to.
I'm sure someone will thumbs down us for that one. But, alright. What's this one like? This is absolutely gorgeous looking. Story-wise, though, you really need an education in the X-Force / X-Men series if you want to know one iota of what's going on in this book.
Oh dear.
There is no introduction to any of these characters. You are just thrust right into the story.
Wow.
Like I said, though, art is absolutely gorgeous. It is a painted style, and it just looks wonderful here. But unless you've been following the series for the last few years, you won't know what's going on.
That's unfortunate. I really hate when that happens.
Yeah, as do I. But if you're an X-Force fan and you've been following it, then good. Check it out, because it's just absolutely gorgeous to look at. There's at least that. Other than that, I can't recommend it.
And if you want to be an X-Force fan, there's always my friend Wiki.
Yep, Wiki is always good. I just didn't have time to look at the Wiki, even with 2 weeks off.
Alright, last up today for me is Iron Patriot #1, and this is again from the all-new Marvel Now relaunch, for lack of a better available term. Mm-hmm. So this book is following Rhodey.
AKA the guy who's dating Captain Marvel.
Yep. So James Rhodey Rhodes, as he makes the transition from being War Machine and taking on a lot of problems outside of America, to being Iron Patriot and focusing all of his efforts closer to home, with exception of rescue missions.
Yep.
Which he ends up taking a lot of flack for. He also is taking flack from his dad for not being around enough, from his niece for not being around enough, and just is trying to find a way to cope and deal with... he's trying to find balance. That's the best way to put it.
Which, when you're a superhero, is not easy to do.
Always the challenge.
Yep.
And
and he's dating, like, the most powerful superhero in the freaking known universe.
That's because he's smart. He aligned himself on the right side.
Yeah.
The art style was nothing remarkable. It's not bad. It's not anything that I specifically took note of.
Yep.
The story looks really interesting. I've left out a couple of things because I want you to read it, and there are a few interesting little hooks in there that I know I'll be picking up the #2 to look at it at the very least, because I want to see what happens with his interesting little niece. So I think you guys, if you're an Iron...
Is his niece as fun as Lieutenant Trouble in Captain Marvel, though?
I haven't read the newest Captain Marvel, but she is fairly precocious. So I think there's a very good chance that Rhodey's niece and Lieutenant Trouble would make the best of friends.
Which would be cute.
Oh man, I kind of want to see it now.
We might. We very well might.
Alright, folks. So if you're an Iron Family fan, I absolutely think you should check out Iron Patriot.
Alright, and last, and maybe least this week.
Could be least.
Yeah, we have Ghost Rider.
All new
Ghost Rider #1.
Yes.
Alright. And in this one, Ah, boy.
You can do it. You can do it.
Robbie Reyes, as if that name's not cliche enough, tries to keep his young, crippled brother, another cliche, safe in the East Los Angeles cliche neighborhood. But when he takes part in an illegal street race and is gunned down, he soon becomes the newest spirit of vengeance in a city overflowing with corruption.
5 cliches
At
in
least.
the setup.
And that's not even counting the ones that are inside the book.
Yes.
That I'm not going to talk about. This book is nothing but cliche after cliche.
Maybe that's what they were going for.
I don't know. It doesn't make the book terrible.
Okay.
The book is still enjoyable in a campy sense. And if you've seen the 2 Ghost Rider movies, you know what you're coming into. It's just that kind of bad camp.
Okay.
It's Nick Cage on a very bad acting day. What is good about this book? I'd say the art. The art here is very hyperkinetic, and it does work to the book's advantage in some aspects. Mm-hmm. But there are some aspects and pages where the art just goes way too cartoony and just does not work at all. Story-wise, again, cliche after cliche.
Maybe it's just a cliche until the setup is through. Like, now that all
We
the
can
setup
hope.
is done,
We can hope.
and we get into the meat of the story, hopefully the cliches will tone down a little bit.
Yeah, we can hope. But basically, this is just your troublemaking adult figurehead who also has to take care of his younger brother becoming a superhero / vengeance type guy. I mean, it's been done a million times. So, just seeing it, I just kind of facepalmed when I was reading through it, because it just...
But there are only so many ways you can set up Ghost Rider's backstory. Realistically.
Yeah.
I mean, Ghost Rider was always the... Not to confuse the issue, the daredevil kind of person. He takes the risks. He's in a family of risk takers. And there are only so many ways you can set that up.
I agree. I will also go into the stereotypes that are presented here.
Oh dear.
Like the character's name, Robbie Reyes. You couldn't think of anything better, really.
Well, it's Marvel. They're all about the double letters. The Peter Parkers.
Yeah, but really, you couldn't think of anything better than Robbie Reyes. I mean, even Johnny Blaze is better than that. But honestly, unless you are a gigantic Ghost Rider fan, you're probably not going to enjoy this one. This one strays a bit far from where the original Ghost Rider came from, and it does not work as a whole. And like I said, it's very cliche. Alright, so that brings us to the close of, well, only the 3rd episode of the month on Marvelous March. Also, it brings us to the end of Marvelous March.
I'm so sorry I was busy saving the world.
It's not like this world is all that worth saving.
Sure it is.
Except for Tim Hortons. Dunkin' Donuts?
On that note...
I don't know. Alright, the world is worth saving if only to see Godzilla in May. And then Avengers 2 next year.
Wait, Star Wars 7, 8, and 9.
I don't care about that.
Well, the cool people do. So, on that
Either
note,
way, have a good one. We will see you next week. Have a good one.